If I could go back about 20 years, I would completely change the way I handled money, the way I viewed money, the way I handled it, the way I invested it, and the way I saw it as an opportunity for the future me. What is that expression? Hindsight's 2020. And as you get older, you always wish that you could go back in time and undo those big mistakes that you made. There's very few that I would actually undo. Finances is a big one because I think it's something that a lot of people don't talk about. We are not open and vulnerable about it. We are not open and honest about it. And we're certainly not open and honest about it with young people. Because when I was younger, I didn't get a financial education, certainly not in school, certainly not from my family. It just wasn't talked about. It was go to work, make money, pay your bills, and then move on. And if you have a retirement plan through work, then certainly contribute. And that's kind of it, as opposed to thinking about and discussing in detail what it is that money can do for you today and tomorrow, depending on what you do with it, right? Because the value of the dollar today is not the same as the value of the dollar tomorrow or in 10 years from now. However, if you spend it in a certain way or you invest it in a certain way, it can bring you more money in the future. And I'm not talking about this through the lens of capitalism, for the sake of making money for the sake of making money. I'm talking about it through the lens of us women not being empowered enough to talk about finances, to understand finances, to think about or be educated in investment so that we can have a secure financial future. Not just for the sake of it, right? We don't need money into some umph degree and just be gluttonous about hoarding wealth. I'm talking about setting ourselves up so that when we're going to be 55 in a week, mind blowing, I'm not as concerned about retirement. Now, I'm not retiring anytime soon. However, time flies pretty quick. It passes a lot quicker than we like to pretend. Certainly a lot quicker than I like to recognize or really admit, and certainly a lot quicker than I thought it went when I was in my 20s or in my 30s or even in my 40s. And now approaching 55, I'm thinking, am I ready for retirement? Am I ready in 5 years, in 10 years, in 15 years? I quite frankly don't know. And it's a little jarring, when you think about it and you start to crunch the numbers and look at it and put pen to paper and really think about how much money I spent in my 20s, 30s, and 40s, how much money I wasted, how much money I did not invest, how much money I didn't put into retirement. Now, did I? Of course I did put money away, but oh my gosh, I could have doubled it. I could have tripled it and still led a perfectly fine life. So, one of the things that I would do, if I had a time capsule and I had one of those DeLoreans from Back to the Future and I could go back in time, would certainly be to have a really frank and honest discussion with myself, with my younger self, about ways to invest and ways to protect money and ways to start to think about how that money in that moment feels like you need that one thing that you're getting in your 20s. You don't need it. Put it into a retirement account, a Roth IRA, into a high yield savings, something. Put it into something that is not just going to get pissed away. Don't pay it towards credit cards. Don't pay it towards material things that you don't need. Use it for your future self, because the 55-year-old version of myself would be thanking the 20-year-old version of myself very, very much had I done that. I didn't know to do that. And that's really, really shameful. I mean, it's really shameful for anyone in this country not to fully understand how finances work on a really micro level, specifically women. It's really shameful that women are not taught that. And now, in all honesty, I had my children very young. I was not even 20 when I had my daughter, and then I had my son a few years later. So, did I have disposable income, when I had my children and I was raising them? I really didn't. However, I started to earn and make more money as they got a little bit older. So, there was the ability to do it. So, I also want to recognize and acknowledge that not everybody has the ability to do that. I absolutely did not when my kids were born, when my children were very young. And I fully respect and acknowledge that not everyone has disposable income, not even $10 a week to start putting aside. However, I think that the more that we educate people about it, again, especially women, the more we can start to think about how we can make those choices, how we can save some money here and invest it there, and what that means. Because when we just say, I could have taken money and invested it, I don't even know what that means. It's such a foreign concept, and it's not even just a foreign concept, it's not tangible. It's not there in front of you. If you take a dollar bill and you put it in front of you, you can see that dollar bill. If you have a bank statement, you can put a bank statement in front of you and you can start to budget and think about, okay, I have to pay rent, I have to pay groceries, I have to pay for my car payment. But now if I'm taking money aside and I'm putting it into this unknown entity, and let's just call it an unknown entity because that's really what it is, whether it's a mutual fund or it's a stock, it's not a bank account where I get a bank statement in the same way. I know you get statements, but that's not what I'm talking about. We don't get a bank statement and we don't have a debit card where we can show up at the bank and pull out that $10. No, this is an investment account that, let's just say it's in a mutual fund. I have no idea what it's doing, right? It's all dependent on what's happening in the market. And now I'm not a stockbroker. I'm not an investor. So now am I going to have to start educating myself about that while I'm working full time, trying to raise my kids full time, maybe working a second job, maybe commuting back and forth to work? People don't have time for that, especially single moms, especially women. And when I say single moms, I'm saying that through the lens that my mother was a single mother. And I'm also saying it through the lens that a lot of women who are married, they're still doing it alone. So how is it that they're going to run a household, take care of children, work full time, take care of everything that has to be taken care of, and still learn about what is this account? What does it mean? What is the money doing? Is it earning? Is it going up? Is it going down? There's these scares in the market. There's the news flashes that, the Dow Jones is down and your money has tanked. If that's me and I'm a single mom trying to make ends meet, and I, again, have those two jobs and I'm commuting and I'm like really, really freaking out trying to figure out how to pay the bills, I'm now going to run there and take my money out. You can't just take my money and watch it continue to tank. Watch me, put $1 in and now it's worth 50 cents. I can't do that. I can't afford that. But if we don't know the bigger picture, if we don't understand, well, what does it mean in the marketplace if we let the money sit there and ride, the odds are that we're going to be earning more money in the future. Again, from 20, if we started investing at 20 years old, to 55 years old, with the compounding interest, with the way the markets generally, go up, all of those kind of things that we can learn now. Number one, because we have more resources, we have social media, we have YouTube, we have the ability to learn these things without having to go and get an advanced degree. But also now, me being able to do that with hindsight, right? Looking back and thinking, oh my gosh, if I had done that at 20 years old, now at 55, I'd be in a different financial position as far as looking at retirement. These are things that I really wish that I had known, that I had taken time, maybe stopped, taken time and started asking people. But the truth is, who was I going to ask? I didn't have resources like that. I didn't grow up with people who were financially savvy around me. No CPAs, no stockbrokers, investment people. I had no one to ask. And if I did, it would be a man. Like, that's just the truth, right? Women are not taught to be comfortable speaking about money, to be open about it. If I had another woman who was maybe in that position, I could whisper to her, hey, I'd really like some insight into this. It's very, very different when you're a young woman speaking to a man who's maybe a stockbroker and asking him about it. Again, I didn't have that ability, but even if I did, I don't know that I would have done it. I'm quite confident that I would not have done it. Now, with years of experience and my professional degree and just constantly learning and talking to people in the industry, and again, watching really, really profound and intelligent people and really knowledgeable people here on YouTube who break it down in a way that is so understandable, because it can, you can get down in the weeds on any profession, right? And anything that people are talking about, but especially the markets and how it is that it works and the history of it. And if you put it in one mutual fund, it consists of different companies than another mutual fund, and what it does and how it pays out, and maybe it pays dividends and maybe it doesn't. I mean, there's a million different ways that you can make money by investing it, and there's so many nuances and so many layers to learn about, and I am no expert. Like, not even an expert with a little e. I know very little. I just know what it is that I've learned from people who are close to me, because again, those are the women who know, who I've been able to whisper in their ear, and I've watched a lot of really fantastic YouTube creators. Point is, I wish that I had known that years ago. So I encourage anyone out there who is in their 50s and beyond, teach your daughters, teach your grandchildren, get them educated on it. And if you don't know, that's okay. That is fully okay. Again, I know very little. I just know that I should have invested. That's basically it. That's what I know, that I should have done more to invest in my retirement and in my future. But we should be doing that for the younger generation, encouraging them to get the information, to get educated about it, to start investing. And the truth of the matter is, are they going to lose some money? Yeah, maybe. Maybe, right? That's just the reality. But when I think about the nonsense as a 20-year-old that I spent money on, you're going to lose money in life, right? So if I'm, spending money on some, stupid handbag, which I didn't, I'm just using handbag as an example, then why wouldn't I take that $50 and put it into the market so that this way I can now watch my money grow, watch my money maybe decrease, watch how it is that the market uses my money, plays with my money, and maybe then I can pull it out and put it somewhere else. And again, watch it, learn, and if I make mistakes with it, which we all will, right? You're going to make mistakes if you're investing, but then I learn the lesson and I can move on from there, as opposed to that one-time purchase that really is meaningless, right? If you do buy that purse when you're 20, when you're 55, do you remember what that purse is? I guarantee you don't. So that's something that I really, really wish that I had been taught. I wish that I would have asked the questions, and I wish I would have invested more. And this isn't about shame, right? This is just about honesty. I'm not trying to shame myself, and I'm not trying to shame anyone else who hasn't done that. It's just something that we didn't learn, and something that I wish that we could do differently as a society and really start educating the younger generation from jump, right? From elementary school about what does money mean? How is it that you can budget it, whether it's $1, $5, and then every year after that they can continue to learn more and more about finances. From teaching the younger generation to making sure that the young women in our lives also know about it, and making sure that there's something I can do about it now. I can't go back in time. I can't go back to when I was 20. However, I'm not at retirement age yet, so I intend to do everything I can to start putting money away for retirement and making sure that I'm setting myself up for success and setting my family up for success. The last thing that I want is to fall short when it comes to retirement or when it comes to even taking care of myself in the future. I don't want to be a burden on anyone. I want to make sure that I'm doing what I can now and being proactive about it, and I hope you're doing the same. So I can't change the past. You can't change the past. But we can change what happens in the next 10 years, in the next 20 years, and how we can set ourselves up to be financially stable and financially independent as women. So tell me, what's one money habit that you wish you had started sooner? And it can be investing, and that's fine. But if you have anything specific, let me know. I'd love to hear it in the comments. And I think this is a topic we'll talk about more and more. And I'll give some insight based on professionals that I've spoken to, based on people that I've heard from. But I'd love to hear from you too. If you have any YouTube channels or you have any creators, CPAs, investment people who have some really great insight, I'd love to hear. If you could drop a comment and let me know who it is, because I'm always willing to learn. I'm always hoping to learn and looking to learn. And in the next 10, 15 years, I'm hoping to grow even more money. Maybe you'll join. So follow along, drop a comment, and let me know who it is that you think that can provide us some insight, who it is that you trust. And let's do this journey together. And until we walk again, go out, live your best life, be happy, be healthy, be wealthy. And thanks so much for joining.